Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charlie with my Superdraft lineup suggestions for Week 1. Football is finally back. I think this is a slate where a lot of games, a lot of the action, a lot of the fantasy points are going to be scored in the 425 games. You have, as you can see right there, KC, Arizona, Las Vegas, and the Chargers. Green Bay, Minnesota, not really so much Giants, Tennessee. Um, I don't really think. I think the loss of AJ Brown is really gonna hurt the Titans, and maybe Saquon Barkley goes wild in his first game back from being injured. But I don't see a lot of stuff coming from that game. Now there are two quarterbacks, one from the early slate, one from the late slate. I don't really like to have a lot of uh, guys to choose from. I like to try to narrow it down. You know, some people do like 150 lineups. Uh, I really like to only stick to one lineup, so I like to try to narrow it down to like one or two players at each position. Um, if there's more like receiver where you get to pick three, I usually like to have like maybe four or five or six. Try not to have too many because then you're like, you know. And the other thing I also think about having 150 lineups, you know, 149 do crappy and one does good. Well, it's not that extreme. Maybe, 20 of them do good and the rest are kind of okay. Um, so, okay, so there's two quarterbacks I'm thinking of. Now, I think Justin Herbert for the late game, and then we have Jalen Hurts on the early game at 1 o'clock against the Lions. Now, they did face the Lions on Halloween last year, blew them out 44-6. A lot of people are expecting the Lions to be a lot better this year. I think that's a possibility. So they blew them out last year. Now, there is one other thing that's kind of interesting about Jalen Hurts in a blowout. Uh, I'll get to that in a second. So he blew out the Lions last year on Halloween. Didn't have that great of a fantasy game. Only had like 11 points. There it is, 11-22. Now, also in week 1 last year, he played the Falcons on the road, blew them out 32-6. And as you can see here, he scored 28-76. So he did really good in one blowout game, really not so good in another blowout game. So that's kind of where I'm at with Jalen Hurts. To me, he's kind of inconsistent. This year, people are expecting a lot from him. And the Eagles as a whole, I'm not sure about that. I thinking I might rather go with Justin Herbert against the Raiders. So that's probably who I'm going to go with. I know the multiplier is slightly different. Jalen Hurts is 1.2, Herbert is 1.1. I know there are other guys that are, projected to do really well, like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray. I'm not actually so sure about Kyler Murray and the Cardinals' offense. Of course, with DeAndre Hopkins suspended, I don't really see them doing a whole lot. They usually don't score a ton of points without DeAndre Hopkins in the lineup, so I might just focus on the Kansas City side in that game. So I'll probably go Herbert. The next, I'm looking at McCaffrey and Taylor. They're both only a single multiplier when there are other running backs. Like Kamara has a 1.1, not a huge difference. McCaffrey's going to be like that whole offense. I don't really have much faith in Baker Mayfield. He could go nuts. He could very well go nuts in this game because facing the Browns, his former team, really wants to show them what he's all about. You know, stick it to them for getting rid of him, and now they don't even have their quarterback. He's suspended, Deshaun Watson. So now they have to go with Jacoby Brissett, and as a Dolphins fan, I can tell you he wasn't too good last year at all, really. I actually thought he was a lot better when he played for the Colts, but apparently, no, not very good. Does not, watching him try and move around the pocket is just awkward. Doesn't have a lot of mobility. So anyways, I'll probably go Christian McCaffrey. Always injury concerns with him. In fact, there was a little bit of injury concern this week. But I'm still going with him. Jonathan Taylor, I think, does really well against the Texans. That actually could be kind of competitive. He did pretty well in both games against the Titans last year. But the Colts haven't won a season opener in 8 years. And they always seem to lose a game in the division that you don't really think they're going to lose, They always, like last year at the end of the season against the Jaguars, they lost. So I'll go McCaffrey, Taylor. I also really like Eckler. I think my core is probably going to be Herbert, Eckler, and Mike Williams. I like that multiplier on Mike Williams, 1.4. And the main thing I wanted to say about receivers is that it's kind of a high variance position. You could take the big guns like Justin Jefferson or Devontae Adams or any of those guys. But I think you might as well take these guys in the mid-range, 1-3. I have Waddle at 1-3, Williams 1-4, Thielen 1-2-5. These mid-range guys, I think, they can do just as well as some of the bigger names. Here's what I think. Jalen Waddle, of course, played 2 games against the Patriots last year. His only 2 games he's played, and he scored touchdowns in both of them. Now, we know that Bill Belichick likes to take away the best weapon, which I think we can all agree is Tyreek Hill on the Dolphins. So I see Jalen Waddle having a pretty productive day like he has against the Patriots. And also I mentioned Mike Williams. I did pretty good last year on Slate. I think was like early in the season against the Chiefs. I had a stack of Herbert, Williams, and Eckler like I do here, and it went pretty well. I ended up winning a pretty good amount of money. So I go Williams is here as well. Now, Thielen, he always seems to be a pretty reliable receiver, so I think I want to go with Thielen as well. So Waddle, Williams, Thielen, I think are my 3 receivers I want. There are some other ones I was looking at. Marquise Brown for the Cardinals. But as I mentioned, the Cardinals offense, I actually think they might look a little disjointed, look kind of lost without DeAndre Hopkins. That game could actually go under. It's projected like 52.5. It could go under, I think. Just because I don't really know if the Cardinals can keep up with the Chiefs. Of course, the Chiefs started pretty bad last year, too. Tight end, Kelsey's 1X. They got rid of most of the receivers there in... they got rid of Tyreek Hill now on the Dolphins. And they brought in Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Of course, they have Sky Moore, a rookie that looks pretty good. Now, here's one interesting thing about tight ends and multipliers. Foster Morel. Most of you are probably going like, who's Foster Morel? He's the backup tight end for the Raiders. Now, I played him last year when he was 1.65x. After he had just had a big week, Darren Waller was out. I played Foster Moreau 1.65x. Didn't really do anything. So I think the best thing is not to really chase multipliers. That should be like a bonus. You should say if it's a really good player and he has a high multiplier, well, that's kind of a bonus. You shouldn't take a player just because he has a high multiplier. That's what I think. George Kittle went off that day. He was playing the Seahawks. He usually goes off against the Seahawks. So I probably should have taken Kittle instead. Just because he had a lower multiplier like he does now, that doesn't necessarily mean a lot. You know, you got to look at if you think a player can smash, which he did against the Seahawks, and he usually does against a division opponent. I don't really know what I was thinking. Rest of my lineup did pretty good that day. So if I didn't have Morel, I probably would have done a lot better than I did, but I still won some money, so I can't really complain that much. So I'm probably just going to go with Kelsey. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty with the pass catchers there. Yeah, obviously I trust Patrick Mahomes. I trusted him to tie the game with 13 seconds against the Bills in the playoffs, so I trust him here. George Kittle, I just mentioned him. I don't know if I want to go back to him, only because that questionable tag, and also because I don't know how he's going to really perform with Trey Lance as quarterback now of the 49ers. So this is my lineup that I have right now, pretty much. Herbert, McCaffrey, Taylor, Waddle, Williams, Thielen, Kelsey, and Eckler. I think I want to stick with those guys. As I scroll down here, I see Kyle Pitts. He's probably going to be pretty popular. The only real weapon they have in Atlanta. So Kyle Pitts at 1.25, of course, he started the season not too great. But I think I want to stick with this lineup. So that's what I got so far, guys. You can like and subscribe this video. Subscribe to my channel. Like this video as well. So that's my Superdraft lineup. Really great set to play on. You know, I would say I like it better than DraftKings and FanDuel. Not that I have anything against those, but sometimes you look at like the perfect lineup, what guys scored, and I see the perfect lineup for Superdraft, and I think, well, I was only like one or two players off. And then I looked at the perfect lineup for like FanDuel, DraftKings, maybe Yahoo, where you have a salary cap and can only pick certain players. And then I see the winning perfect lineup for that, and I'm like, yeah, I wasn't anywhere close. If I did a lineup, it would have been pretty bad on those sites. But Superdraft, I really do like. So that's my lineup, guys. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you have a good Sunday. All right, see ya.